All right. We're back for another episode of the Bad Ideas podcast with Mr. Ian McDonald. Thank you for being here, Ian.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
So you're the CMO at AutoTrader in Canada. Do you work on the global team too, or like?
I'm focused on Canada. It's an interesting thing, actually. There are many auto traders around the world, but most of them have separate ownership structure.
Interesting. So it's its own brand. It's its own thing.
Yeah. So AutoTrader.ca, the Canadian one, that's owned by a company called Trader Corporation, and we also have some B2B brands and software brands and other stuff. But the main brand that the audience and the people in the street would know is AutoTrader. That's the big consumer-facing brand that we have.
Yeah, which we have in the States here too.
You've got the .com.
Advertiser.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time for car resellers.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going for you guys?
It's going great. I mean, I suppose there's the industry, and then there's kind of us within it. Industries, it's still a really interesting time. It's amazing actually how long the effects of kind of COVID continue, and some of them will continue forever, of course. But it's been a really interesting 2 or 3 years with huge kind of inventory challenges. We're past those now. We've seen, especially new car production is through the roof. It's back to 2019 levels. All the new cars are back. So inventory is cool. But during that period, there was a lot of price action as inventory waned and prices went up. And some of that stuff is normalizing on the used side of things and new, but it's taking time. And it's amazing. You sit here in 2024, that was 4 years ago, and still feeling the kind of impact of that unfurling in different ways. So listen, but industry's good. Like consumer sentiment is holding up pretty well in Canada, considering economically it's a bit tough with interest rates and stuff. The consumer demand is holding up quite well, and our position in the market, we have been for some time, and we remain the number one car marketplace for Canadians, top of mind, highest saliency, 2/3 market share, 2/3 of all Canadians online looking for a car come to us. So the industry is good. We're doing good. Yeah. We're happy.
Look, it's really awesome to have you here. I think the space you play in and what you do is extremely difficult because there's so many different things competing for attention, and there are local access points that are competing with you that you can't even see. So it's really amazing, like what you guys have been able to achieve. And
I appreciate you saying that.
I feel like that's part of the mission of the show is to kind of pull out the people that are creating the real value in business and get them to riff on some silly stuff with us, but really give people a chance to see how they think. And to have someone like you that's competing in a competitive space on like a national and international scale with dominance, it's just really cool.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So Structure, you've seen some episodes, which I'm honored. But Structure will introduce a bad idea. Then we'll make fun of it as much as we can, and then try to put our thinking caps on and turn it into something good.
Okay.
Sound good?
It sounds great.
All right. Let's see what we got today.
And I should say, I don't know where these bad ideas come from, but I've had a few myself in my time, so
maybe they'll bleed in.
Yeah, well, when I critique, I said good ones and bad ones, but yeah, when we can critique the bad ideas, I'm by no means immune. So
well, you've brought that up. Before we reveal this bad idea, not only your own bad ideas, but your team must bring stuff to you all the time that you have to kind of like quickly weigh and decide on. Do you have like your own process you use or you apply when someone's like, we got to do this?
That's such a great question. In terms of rules of thumb or kind of mantras, I guess that one of the big ones I find myself returning to all the time is big and simple. Meaning, really try and focus on things that are going to have the maximum impact in the most simple way for the least effort. Now, that sounds so intuitive. Of course you do that. But, and it's no slight on individuals. It's not just my team here. It's all kinds of people. When you are really in the mix on something, especially if you're like a product manager, for example, and you live and breathe that product, it's so easy to go into the real details of things and how complex or how targeted you could make something, and we need this technology and that technology. It's easy to get sucked in a little bit on that, and listen, that's part of leadership, is that I'm up here at 20,000 feet saying like, yeah, that's great, but like looking at it with fresh eyes from this level, that's fine. That's how organizations are supposed to work. That's why you have people in leadership roles that are trying to look at things through that lens, and you have folks who really need to know the detail through that lens. But yeah, in terms of evaluating new ideas and opportunities, I keep coming back to that big and simple. Is it big enough? Is it simple enough?
All right. I don't know if that's going to work for our bad idea.
Let's
But,
let's see.
but it's an elegant framework. Let's pull the rabbit out of the hat. See what we got here.
Okay.
All right. So for today, it's industry related. So the bad idea is an exhaust scent sampler. So install a device on your exhaust pipe that emits a variety of scents, ranging from pleasant floral aromas to pungent stenches, enhancing the olfactory experience for everyone on the road.
Yeah. Everyone around your car and not necessarily you in your car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's fault number one of this. Like, I understand the method. Exhaust smells bad and it's probably super unhealthy. So maybe there's like a health component to this, but if you could make it smell good, maybe there's appeal. The thing is, who cares about someone else's olfactory experience? Like, I want my car to smell good, so that guy isn't. I don't.
That's true. But then again, I suppose. Well, maybe we're getting into the how can we make it. So yeah. Why is it bad? At first blush, it feels like the kind of people who have empathy for other people, they're willing to pay money or otherwise inconvenience themselves for the good of the planet, the society, whatever.
Yeah.
Those kind of people feel like the kind of people that may consider this, but it sounds like it's just a scent. It doesn't actually do anything about the harm of the emissions. So, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Maybe an opportunity.
Febreze for your exhaust. It does nothing, but it makes you feel better about it.
It masks something unpleasant.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be a kind of fault with it, but maybe an opportunity that could make it kind of better. I guess another fault with it would be, I think what's success? That everyone has one. Okay. So then every car has a different scent or a variety of scents. What's that going to create for people walking down the street?
No. Good point. Good point.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
Cross-pollination could be bad.
Yeah.
I read, you might be familiar with the story, but I read an article, this must be 3 or 4 years ago, about Honda and Toyota releasing their hybrids. And they were kind of in like a bit of a match race. And Honda's was the Accord, and it looked exactly like the standard Accord. And obviously the Prius looks like something out of space. Well, at least it used to. Now there's so many of them on the road. But Toyota made a deliberate decision to make the Prius look super unique and kind of futuristic, because they realized through focus group testing that the people who bought hybrids wanted everyone to know they were driving a hybrid.
100%.
And the Honda failed because nobody knew it was a hybrid, which is crazy. Like, the efficiency's there, the environment's protected, but it was more valuable for people to be known to be driving a hybrid than to actually have the effect.
Well, I mean, I suppose this is dangerous territory because, I don't want to use that phrase, virtue signaling and stuff. But look, whatever encourages someone to do a good thing is a good thing. And we should celebrate that, whatever the motivations are. But it is pretty telling, isn't it, that in terms of buying an electric vehicle, listen, we've seen similar things in our research. Not everybody, but a lot of folks do it to show that they've bought an electric vehicle, not because of their actual footprint or the impact of the electric vehicle. It's more important to show that I care about the earth than to do a little bit for the earth. And that's played out in that story that you just said right there. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So I'm trying to wonder how that applies to our exhaust scent thing, because everyone would know that your exhaust smells lovely sometimes, but your ego is not impacted by it. I mean, it's solely external. Like, it does nothing for your driving experience. I think that's the first thing that you said.
Yeah.
But only external. So the buyer of this is somebody who cares more about what other people think of their car exhaust than their own benefit.
That's true. So maybe it comes with a sticker so you can let people know. But then what if the technology exists to add a scent to the emissions, could they not add color to the emissions? And that maybe is a whole different kind of segment of people that want like purple exhaust fumes or I don't know, whatever kind of color.
See, Look, this is what happens when you deal with marketers. Marketers are innately idea people. So we're going back to your framework. Like you have to have developed that to rein in yourself before your teams.
Mm.
But finding new lenses to look at these things through. So we went from smell to sight in about 8 minutes. Is what creates opportunities to grow things in different ways. And that's I'm in my head pivoting to positive, bringing this to an entirely kind of different industry.
Okay.
And do you have any experience with hydrogen cars?
No, not too much kind of personally, no.
So the exhaust is water vapor.
Yeah.
It's like the
Okay.
cleanest possible thing it could be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think something like this could be almost a home run. I mean, especially if you made it colorful.
Yeah.
Because how do you let people know? I mean, it sounds kind of like an electric car, kind of like a gas car. How do you let them know it's a hydrogen car? You make the exhaust smell crazy or really
Yeah.
good or like flowers or something.
Make it like blue and make it smell like a waterfall or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that
And,
be an amazing way to do a good thing?
and to the point we made earlier, yeah, like that's the status symbol is I have blue exhaust. I'm cutting edge. I'm driving a hydrogen car.
I'm the guy. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really, at least in my head, that's a really good idea. Is that big and simple? Do we think?
I think if you manufacture hydrogen cars already and that's your sole line of business, that feels, I don't know about the simple on the technology, but it's certainly a simple idea. And it does feel big because, like we were just saying, one of the main driver of motivation for buying these things is I want to let people know that I bought this thing. So
Yeah.
any way that you can set it apart, in Toyota's case, by making it look like a spaceship, in this case, giving it a blue exhaust, that's got to be a good thing. And then I think the big part would be, the adoption curve and things like that on it. Like, are we selling enough hydrogen cars to do this? But yeah, it feels pretty big and simple.
Yeah. I think that's a really wild way to move people into the clean economy. Like a car drives past you and you see blue exhaust and it smells wonderful and you're like, what is that? I want to understand it.
Yeah, and then and that's the other thing about yeah, well, like we were saying, so people that would have had no inclination to buy hydrogen just because it looks cool, I want that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
aside from the kind of virtue points.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's a interesting space. Yeah. Cause I think, well, we keep keying in on, this is kind of a bigger discussion point. We keep keying in on the fact that people care a lot about how they're perceived, and how that's a motivating factor. And I think marketers spend a lot of time on price and value of the thing in its own context. And it almost goes back to what you said earlier, where like sometimes marketers can become subject matter experts to the point that they like solve a problem the customer doesn't even know they have. When like in Toyota's case, the problem wasn't being more fuel efficient. The problem was looking like they're, contributing in a bigger way. Again, it's a good thing. So however you make it happen, make it happen.
I mean, that to me, and I don't know, but
Yeah.
that to me with Toyota, that sounds like a fail at like the consumer research phase. You know what I'm saying? Like surely they not Toyota, sorry, Honda.
Honda, yeah.
Surely they would have sat down with EV intenders and said, "Why are you intending to buy an EV?" And if they got the research right, the majority of them would have said, "Because I want people to look at me and think that I love the planet," and da 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 da. And then they would have known, "Oh, you got to make it look different. You got to make it obvious."
Yeah.
Like, and that's also, I mean, this part of, like, Tesla's not just about the planet and stuff. There's also it's a really sexy brand that has great cachet, but there's a reason Tesla do like they do, because people that buy them don't want to be mistaken for anything else. Right?
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
We're kind of we've gone down the virtue signaling route, but the other angle of it is like they are doing something that is unique and it is different and it is cleaner and it's expensive. So like they are doing something. So there's some justification for the badge,
Definitely. Like I said off the top, I think it's no, the motivations almost matter less than actually doing something good.
Yeah.
So and so that's actually on an industry thing. It's like, well, if we really, because we've been doing some research recently, and consumer interest and appetite for EVs is actually dropping a little bit last year or two. It's slowing down. So, but maybe this is something that automakers should and could be looking at. And we have this whole huge EV study, which, for OEM partners, we do sit down and take them through it because they're so fascinated by the results and stuff. But if this is a big thing, and it's like, okay, people that aren't turned on for whatever reason by the climate thing and the green thing, like make the car look awesome and amazing then, so they buy it anyway, and just appeal to a different need, right? If that's what you want them to do.
Yeah, make it super super fast, or like the I mean, Tesla almost took the Uber route, right? They released the Roadster first, so it was an exotic, and all these like super fast Teslas on the road, and then they released the consumer car.
Yeah, and they kind of work back to the SUV, right? With the
and now they're doing they have like a $30,000 car that's coming out soon, right? With the credit.
Yeah, so they're hitting all the segments now. They got the family wagon thing, they got the Roadster, they got sedan.
They're going down, but I mean, they keyed in on the fact that early adopters were people who'd want something flashy, so they sold something flashy.
Do you know what that's I've never thought of it that way, but that is actually a great insight into a great strategy. You would think, like with the green thing and the segment and who would appeal with that, you would have done like the family minivan first or something, right? Like for most of this field. But actually, obviously something in research or whatever told them, no, go for make it expensive and make it the flashy thing. And like, because like you said, people that drive that stuff, it's not like they were kind of climate conscious before. They're probably driving around in Porsches and stuff. And so, it's really interesting.
Yeah. It's just a funny way to, tap into multiple channels of demand, I guess, and create a powerful sales channel.
I think it's smart as well, because not that we want to talk about Tesla the whole time, but it's that doing it that way, like elevated that brand immediately from, say, like, a Prius or something a bit more everyday to like, wow, Teslas are sexy and cool and expensive and sought after. So now, the cars are becoming a little more affordable, but the brand has retained that cachet of, oh, that's so cool, it's a Tesla. So yeah, increases the consideration now through all these other segments they're working through by coming in at the top.
Yeah, they killed it. It's almost like they have kind of smart CEO or something, but
yeah, right.
But I mean, you guys, I don't know if publicly you claim to be green, but it's circular economy. I mean, that's like the most powerful way in the auto industry to be green. I don't think a lot of people understand how long a car can last. I think there's just so much demand for the next thing or the new thing. It's like an iPhone. Like your iPhone will last 12 years, but you get a new one every year. Do you guys use that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we don't kind of position on our what would you call it, climate credentials, I guess. But look, I mean, yeah, there is a massive carbon footprint, and then many other reasons why buying used cars and giving used cars a good decent life is a good thing to do, and we're very proud of the fact that, like I said, around kind of 2/3, like we're a huge driver of that economy in this country, at least. Like, in fact, we did a study and it was like 60% of all the used cars that are sold in Canada every year are somehow influenced by AutoTrader. They're listed there, this kind of thing. So we're a big driver of it. But yeah, no, you're exactly right. And the other thing is, we've seen that the life of cars is kind of extending because they're making them better and all that sort of stuff. So like there are some, the parking lot, as we might call it, for like cars over 10 years old is huge. And a lot of them still run fine and that kind of thing, which is, the cynic would say, maybe that's why, like if you needed to completely replace the entire like parking lot of Canada, all the cars that exist, or any country, really quickly, the EV mandate is what you would do. You would say they're going to be, we're going to tax them, and they're going to be non grata and verboten after 2035 or whatever. That's how you would do that if you wanted to sell that many cars. But that's the cynic. That's the cynic's point of view, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the other end. I'm paying super close attention to all the hydrogen innovation, and I think the next year or two, it'll be competitive with gas. Maybe not in a commercial scale, but at least in prototype. And someone's going to need to put, some scented exhaust or blue exhaust or something on there to get it out there. And I think someone's going to figure out how to convert gas to hydrogen. And you guys are going to be the big channel for that. And I mean, that'll have a huge impact on the whole world.
Yeah, that's cool. The thing I like about our kind of position is, broadly speaking, people will always want to buy vehicles because we do things outside of cars, but vehicles and cars, and whatever the technology is or whatever they look like, we'll be there to empower the buyers and empower the sellers as well to make great connections and find the right deals, kind of no matter what that looks like. I know there's some stuff with OEMs trying to sort of move more D2C and stuff, and that kind of remains to be seen. But I think consumers will always, it's a deep-seated human thing that will never go away. Consumers always want to compare and research and feel empowered and feel comfortable with even the smallest purchases. They want to know that they're doing the right thing and that that's okay. And AutoTrader will always be here to do that for them, no matter what happens with kind of auto technology, which I like about our position.
That's the position, to help you make the decision. It's not to drive a specific, it's to help you make.
Yeah. I've used the word empowerment. I've been here on and off. I took a little break, but I've been here like 10 years or something. And from day one, like I've always used the word empowerment. That's what this brand does. It empowers consumers and it empowers dealers too, by giving them a single point of access to 2/3 of all the buyers in the market. So yeah, that's what this brand is about. It's about empowering buyers and sellers to get a great outcome together and to create great connections. That's what we do.
That's powerful.
I'm glad.
Everybody wants strength, right? And like, yeah, you're in such a cool space too, because as a marketplace, like they're not buying you, at least in their head, mentally it's the product. So like your service is a value add that like all the value is delivered before a dollar is exchanged, which is a really cool way to do business.
Yeah, and we've built up a considerable amount of trust with the Canadian public. That's also based on how long we've been doing it. We've been around since 1975, like the same as the AutoTrader in the States and the UK and stuff. So that's helped. But no, look, I think it like you said, it's like an empathy thing. Anytime you can, like buying a car can be daunting. We know that. And also, frankly, like for dealers and private individuals, selling a car is not easy. Like you look at dealership operations, like profit margins and how you advertise the car is not easy to be a successful dealer. And, we like to define our success as helping dealers be successful. If dealers are successful with us, that means the whole thing's working, because that means the consumers are being successful because they're buying the cars, and we're being successful in empowering both parties. So that's trying to keep it simple. And then obviously there's loads of gristly stuff underneath there with products and how do we do that and all that stuff. But that's the main premise.
So much stuff you coordinate. Well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and 2/3 of the population being influenced by you is pretty successful, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
But it uniquely positions you to evaluate this really bad idea about scented exhaust, right? You would be the authority in Canada to look at this. And I think we kind of agree on its own, scented exhaust for gas cars probably is a non-starter, right?
Yeah, unless we can find another angle for it. I think in and of itself, I mean, we haven't discussed the whole marketing mix though, like price, right? If it's 50 cents, yeah, maybe. Like if it's like the tree from the gas station,
yeah,
maybe. If it's 50 cents, maybe, but we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much of a business there, because the amount of production you'd have to do to make it work, and then
that's the other thing. The little Christmas trees have scale economies. They're selling 1 billion of them a year. This thing, probably not in its first year. Yeah.
I know. And who's going to invest in this? It's going to be huge. I don't think it's going to be huge yet. But the flip side, blue, like colored exhaust, given what we were talking about with the EV space, the Toyota and Honda story, blue exhaust is a really cool idea. And that could be something that breaks the ice on the green economy a little bit, because you physically see it. It's not just a cool car. It's like, that's different.
Especially if you have like the twin exhaust pipes or something, you can have some fun, right? Or like sports fans, right? They could have the two colors of their team and this sort of stuff on game day with the flags. Hey, that's cool. If you could switch it out. But that, you know what? It's interesting, because talking about that, at first, like we said, who cares about their own exhaust? But actually, do people care if they're driving around in like a Beta that's got black smoke coming out of it? Even if the car is running okay, but it's got that aesthetic, I think people care. That's a bad look, right? And you're in the car, and it's, not to mention it's unsafe if the smoke's really thick, whatever. So maybe it's that, like, the exhaust is a thing. It's a feature of a car. How does it look? How much of it is there? How does it smell? That is a feature of a car, but maybe one that, because cars are even the gas cars are like pretty clean on emissions these days, we kind of take it for granted. Oh, that's not something someone would be interested in, but it is a feature of the car. And you see that because when it's bad,
it looks
people don't want to buy that car.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's really interesting. Like a dealer product, clean up the car's exhaust to make it more sellable.
give me that. But I think it just shows that like people do care about their own exhaust, even though it doesn't affect them because it's outside the car.
We So I'm recording from South Florida, and we have this trend where everyone puts a lift on their pickup truck or Jeep,
Okay.
and then puts big like space tires, like mud tires on them with really high profile rims.
Okay.
And what's funny, because Florida, I don't think has regular inspection laws, so we get a lot of those southern it's like a 1981 Ford F-150 that's like rusted down to the axle. But people will lift
I was
the old
jacked up.
rusty car and still put brand new like $7,000 rims on it.
We
That's what I
had
was thinking about when you're talking about exhaust, because of like they don't care about the body of the car, and like the
right.
rims are worth more than the car, but they're
Yeah,
still on it. It's just weird.
that is interesting. We actually we had an ad. It was a great TV ad I thought years and years ago where what we were depicting was kind of I guess situations where your car was no longer suitable and this kind of thing, and then you the AutoTrader would help you find the car that solved your problem. So, we had a mum who was taking the kids to soccer practice and like a clown car, right? She had like 9 kids getting out of this tiny car. So she needed a minivan. So she goes to AutoTrader. But anyway, one of them was this kind of tough looking guy, and he was driving like a lowrider, like a lowered car. He got beached on a speed bump, and then he's looking at AutoTrader, and the car we showed was like a classic Ford truck, but jacked up with the huge wheels. So it kind of, yeah. That just made me think of that when you described that truck. I was like, oh, we made an ad with one of those.
I get you there. I mean, there are a lot of really, really nice trucks that are dressed up that way, but there's also, I mean, every time we hit the road, there's at least one like straight out of the 80s, brand new mint rims and a lift kit on it. And it's just back to that image thing. Like maybe that elevates the truck somehow. Like, oh, it's jacked up. It doesn't matter that it's rusty. It's just,
Well, maybe it's kind of part of the look. Is it part of the aesthetic? Like, like ripped denim. Like if you'd have told someone in, I don't know, the 70s, ripped denim's going to be huge. People are going to pay 3 times the price because it's got holes in it. They're thinking crazy. But then you fast forward to, well, I guess what was it like? Maybe late 90s, ripped denim was all in again, and I'm sure it'll be in again in 30 years. But maybe it's part of the aesthetic that the truck looks a bit beat up, but it's on these real shiny, beautiful, huge rims. I don't know.
True. Perceptive. So there's got to be something. I think the better idea is definitely color to the exhaust, because we've keyed in and people want to be seen. They want folks to know that they're doing something different.
It's visual.
That gets
you can always do both as well. You could do both, but yeah, the color is very visual.
Yeah.
Because you think about that early adopter thing, right? If you were just walking around, downtown, wherever, any city, and like car went by that had a bright red exhaust or something fun, or like I said, like red and yellow on a game day, and people would be pointing, taking pictures, and those people want that. They're like the first Tesla owners, right? So there's definitely like an early adopter market for that.
Something there. So this gets published in a month or so, and every AutoTrader customer then on suddenly like is pulling off the lot or out of the dealer, and their cars putting out Leafs colors or something.
Yeah,
be hilarious.
How do we get a piece of that?
Was your idea? Is your idea.
I know. I modified it a little, but yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for considering this bad idea. How do folks? I mean, you have such great perspective. I'm sure outside of mentoring your team, you must speak around the country and maybe down here in the U.S. sometimes too.
Yeah, time to time. I don't do as much as I would like to. Time pressures and whatnot. But yeah, no, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn into the sort of advertising community and giving my thoughts and stuff. So yeah, folks can find me on LinkedIn. It's Ian MacDonald, MAC, and I work for Trader Corporation, AutoTrader Canada. So you can follow me there. And yeah, if I am speaking and this kind of stuff, I always put it out there as well. So
yeah, definitely like let us know. We'll blast it out there too. I'm super grateful to get on your calendar. This is super cool.
Oh, hey, thanks. I'll be honest with you. The podcast idea, this is so different to any podcast I've done before. It's really good fun, and it's amazing, isn't it? Honestly, when you mentioned that idea to begin, I was like, oh man, where do we go with this? But we've got 29 minutes of content out of it, and it was pretty fun, and we ended on something that could work. So.
Oh, we talked about some big stuff too. I think
we did.
Yeah, there's been what like 7 years of people trying to figure out how to crack the green economy, and maybe they need blue exhaust, right? Maybe this is the catalyst.
Just give the people what they want. Let's just give them something that says, "I'm helping. I'm doing my part." Yeah.
we'll get a link. We'll publish this in about a month. We'll get a link up to you, and seriously, super appreciative of you coming by. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thanks so much for having me, Nick. It was really good fun and a nice break from the, what should I say, the context switching of the day. Yeah, meeting to meeting, whatever. This is a really nice break. Take a break and have a chat.
Killer, you crushed it.
Thanks, Nick.